Comrades of Labour Conference, my name is Joe Attard of Ealing Central and Acton CLP. I want to speak against the NEC's rule changes to Chapter 2 on membership. Comrades, we saw an entire CLP who attempted to represent a resolution unable to do so because presumably all of their delegates have been suspended. We witnessed a General Secretary chiding conference floor and seeking to have absolute veto over who gets to join the Labour Party. The NEC's rule change seeks to give them total veto over who gets to join the Labour Party. Conference, neither the NEC nor the General Secretary have my confidence as a socialist. Because the powers they have used to repress, to silence and to attack the left for purely factional purposes. I heard just now of a comrade of mine dragged out of conference for wearing a T-shirt. This T-shirt. Comrades, 150,000 people have died before their time thanks to this callous Tory government. You've got hour-long queues of heavy goods vehicles piling up outside of London, cuts to universal credit, making the poor pay more national insurance to bail out the rich. And in all of this, the objectives and the priorities of the NEC, the leader and the General Secretary are to attack you, not the Conservatives. Comrades of the Labour Party, we are socialists. We are part of the Labour movement. This party belongs to us, not to David Evans, not to Keir Starmer, and not to the bankers and the city that they aim to represent over you. Joseph Attard, Ealing Central and Acton, and proud supporter of socialist appeal.
I am here to propose a constitutional amendment under which the position of General Secretary would be elected by the party membership rather than by the NEC and subsequently confirmed, which in reality constitutes an appointment by the party leader. The office of the General Secretary encompasses an extremely broad range of responsibilities and powers, but really only answers to one person, the party leader. It cannot be right that one of the most powerful positions in our party is also one of the least accountable. Particularly over the last few weeks, the consequences of this lack of accountability have become impossible to ignore. Many of us watched with increasing confusion and alarm as notices of investigation have been sent to party members in the dead of night for trivial or non-existent infringements of party rules. Members have been suspended days before travelling to this conference for what many suspect are purely factional and possibly purely fictional reasons. The chair of Young Labour was even placed under investigation for opposing transphobic bigotry before this was hastily withdrawn in the face of justified public outrage. These actions have caused serious and unnecessary distress to members who have broken no party rules, undermined confidence in our party's disciplinary procedures, and damaged the party's standing in the eyes of the public. These actions are ultimately the responsibility of the General Secretary. But the membership has little means of holding the General Secretary to account for them because our current mechanisms of democratic accountability are inadequate to the task. An elected General Secretary would act in the knowledge they must justify their decisions to the members who voted them in. That is not only morally right, it is the best way to ensure the powers of the General Secretary are used wisely and responsibly. It would help to ensure effective and fair administration whilst providing a powerful disincentive against the arbitrary misuse of power for factional ends. Not only that, but the election of the General Secretary would be an important step towards a more balanced and even distribution of power across our party, in place of the current overwhelming centralisation of authority in the hands of one person. Our Labour Party membership cards state that we belong to a democratic socialist party. That first word is just as important as the second, and for that reason, we should vote to make the party's General Secretary a fully democratically elected position.
In the last leadership campaign, members' rights to select their candidates had a champion. I'd hoped he'd still be on the platform, but he seems to be gone. Who do you think that champion was? You're all being quiet, you're all tired. It was Keir Starmer. In an article called Reform and Unite, Keir stated, local party members should select their candidates for every election. Local party candidates. The NEC should not impose candidates on local parties. And indeed, this was reiterated by him at the hustings that took place in City of Durham. And as a result of that, a number of members were persuaded to vote for him. Conference, what Keir said then was right then, and it is still right now. All this rule change is doing is putting that principle into practice.
I love this broad church party where we're all entitled to our own political views and to have a debate, but I don't think we can be entitled to our own facts. There was no vote on the NEC statement yesterday. In fact, Harry told us that couldn't be referenced back. He didn't say we could vote against. Now, it's actually a very important substantive thing that a lot of this conference wants to vote against because it includes Ken Loach having to be auto-excluded.
Our former leader brought hundreds of thousands of people, especially young people, into our party in 2017, and we achieved our best election result in a generation. Fact. A Labour member who is an MP should by rights be a Labour MP. Am I right? If passed, we can reverse at this conference the unjust and seemingly indefinite disciplinary action against Jeremy Corbyn MP. Please support, and let's start to heal the wounds and build the unity we need to win a general election. Stronger, future, together. Thank you very much.
I am confident that if the CLP had been involved, we could have saved Hartlepool.
If we aspire to be a democratic organisation, then local members must never be excluded from choosing their representatives, no matter the time constraints. Under all leaderships, in all by-elections, candidates have been imposed with the same excuses: not enough time, the need for oversight. But while there is no evidence that central control solves these problems, there is plenty of evidence of inappropriate candidates being foisted on CLPs.
On this portfolio of motions, I was sort of going to vote in favour of the NEC recommendations. I'm going to say why I'm going to vote against them. It's the only way I, with my one vote, can register a protest at the rather sloppy way some of the procedures have been carried out today. And can I say, for the sake of clarity, I voted for Yvette Cooper and I voted for Keir. And if Keir stood again tomorrow, I'd vote for him tomorrow. But I'm not happy with the procedures, okay? And I'm not happy with the heavy-handedness that's going on, creeping in.